Hey guys, Ben here. Just want to show you an example that combines some concepts that were taught in week 1 and 2 to make a program that will repeatedly prompt the user for their name and respond with a greeting, with some special greetings for certain names. Amongst other things, we'll be using a while loop, raw input, string concatenation, and an if, elif, else statement to accomplish this task. So let's get started. First thing that we'll do is write a really simple program that's just going to ask the user for their name and respond with hello and whatever their name is. So we'll use the variable name and we'll get some input from the user asking them what is your name, remembering to leave a space on the end so that the prompt looks neat. And once we've got that name, we're going to print out hello and then concatenate onto the end our name. So let's test that. I'll hit F5 to run the module. It asks me for my name. My name is Ben. And there you go. It says hello Ben. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is modify our program slightly such that it responds with different messages for special names. So I'll come down after the first line, and instead of printing out hello name, we're going to do a check first. So let's check if the name equals King Arthur. Now, if the user enters their name as King Arthur, let's respond with something like, I am at your service, sire. Okay. Now, we also want to have a default case. So with ifs, all you need is the if block. You don't have to have an else. It's totally optional. But if you want to have some sort of default, you want to print something out if the user's name is just an ordinary name and not one of these special cases, then you use an else. So let's put our generic hello in the else block. So I'll come down and add an else, and then bring our print statement from before up into the else block, remembering to indent it. Okay, but say we wanted to check for some other names as well. We don't want to just only give King Arthur a special greeting. We can use an elif to achieve that. Now again, elifs are optional, and you can have as many of them as you want. They go after the if and before the else, if you have the else. So let's come down and add one after King Arthur. So after we check for King Arthur, let's check if the user's name is Pierre. And if the user enters their name as Pierre, let's respond with Bonjour Pierre. And perhaps we might want to have another elif, and we'll say, if the user enters their name as Hans, we'll respond and say, Guten Tag, Hans. Okay, now let's save that, press F5 to run the module, and see how that goes. So I'll enter my name as King Arthur, and we get our special message. Or if we run it again, with Pierre, we can see it greets us appropriately. And let's just do a name that's not included there. So I'll just enter my name again. And we see that we get our generic hello. Now the next thing that we want to do is to modify our program slightly such that it doesn't just ask the user for their name once, but that it asks them over and over again. We can use a while loop to achieve this. So let's come up to the top of our code, and on the line before, we will add a while loop. Now, for the condition in our while loop, we essentially want to loop infinitely, that is, over and over and over again, continuously, without ever stopping. To do this, for our condition, we can simply write true, something that's always true, and therefore the loop will continue to happen regardless, unless we manually break out of it. Now we need to remember as well to indent the code underneath the while loop. Now the last thing that we want to do is to allow the user a way to exit out of our program. We'll do that by breaking out of the loop when the user enters no name. So we'll come down to our if, elif, else block, and we'll add another elif clause. Now what we want to do is check to see if the name is equal to the empty string, that is, the user has entered no name. Now if the user's entered no name, we want to stop the loop. Recall that the way we do this is by using the break statement. What that's going to do is to break out of the loop and then execute the code after it. So it will essentially finish the loop. And one more thing that we can do is to add a goodbye message. So we'll come down and make sure we're outdented in line with the while loop, and we'll print out goodbye. And there we go. And let's see how that runs. So it asks for our name, and I'll type in Ben. We'll type in Pierre. And let's try and type in nothing. And there you go. It's just a simple example combining some concepts that were learnt in the first couple of weeks. Hope you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time.